We talked in my commentary about the differences of opinion on, or maybe let me start with the shared opinions about the parables, about the old wine and the new wine, and the patch and the old garment, and the idea that from these pastors and these Christian commentators, an interpretation is brought forth, commonly brought forth. It really is the majority position and the standard interpretation that Jesus was bringing a form of religious service to God or belief in God or a worldview that was so radically different from the Jewish worldview that it required the displacing of the Jewish worldview and its old system. So in a word, we end up with Judaism is out and Christianity is in, or we could say the people of Israel the people of God known as Israel are being replaced by the people of God known as the Gentile Christians or the church. We could also add to that the idea that the Old Testament is being replaced by the New Testament, or the law of Moses is being replaced by the law of God. We're no longer under the law, we're under grace. Those are the sentiments that are brought into this discussion about the old man or the old wine and the new wine skins, the patch and the old garment, and the new patch and the old garment, and all those things. So that's where we're going. Go back and read those parts of my commentary if you're unsure of what I was referring to. Let's jump now into a new section called, and you can see it on my screen here, the old man, the new man, and Messianic Judaism. And the challenge I've been putting forth is that is it necessary for Jesus to discard the Jewish worldview in favor of bringing this radical new worldview of new covenant? Or can we retain the Jewish perspective, like the people of Israel and the law of Moses and Judaism as religion? Can we retain those elements and yet infuse them with messianic significance, right? A renewal of the heart, a renewed mind, a born-again experience, but the same person. And so I've been using the analogy of throwing the baby out with the bathwater in order to bring about Jesus' desired result, right, of his radical teaching. And it is true, he was very radical in his day, but is it necessary to discard all of Judaism in favor of Christianity? Is Judaism, or was the first century Judaism, was it incompatible, so incompatible with the message of Jesus, of Yeshua, that it could not contain or prop up or support the message that Jesus was bringing, right? Was the system so corrupt? And remember what my perspective is, if we're simply talking about the corrupted heart of an individual, then yes, Yeshua's teaching can't coexist with that corruption. And so Jesus is asking for a radical change of heart, of mind, of will, when it comes to serving God in newness of life and being brought out from underneath the condemnation that is the result of misunderstanding and misapplying and misusing God's laws. So all those religious leaders within purview of Yeshua's conversation need to be challenged to take the born-again experience, right? Take that plunge. But even in that case, we're not talking about throwing out the baby. We're only talking about throwing out the dirty bathwater. We want to keep the baby, right? We want to retain the individual. So that's why we're going to now talk about this idea of old man, new man, and Messianic Judaism. I don't think Yeshua is actually talking about swapping out systems altogether. It's not necessary to replace Judaism with Christianity. We can retain Judaism as long as it becomes reformed and turns into Messianic Judaism, so that a Jew in Yeshua's day goes from being a rabbinic Jew or a Pharisaic Jew and gets turned into a Messianic Jew. But the key point, he's still a Jew. He can retain his Jewishness. So let's talk about that. I don't know how far I'll get in this tonight, but we'll take a bite out of it. All right, these are my own words. Let's start there. Having been raised, this is talking about me, these are my own words. Having been raised with a solid Christian background myself, I believe I can understand where these mainline Christian sources, the ones that I quoted above, where they're launching from and just what it is they're attempting to convey in their commentaries. And here it is. Jesus taught that the old man must die in order for the new man to be birthed. And as I say in my commentary, this is not peripheral to the gospel, right? What is it? This is actually central to the gospel message. Understand what I'm saying? the message of Yeshua is radical in the sense that Jesus is calling for the death of self so that Jesus can live within the individual, so that Jesus can have preeminence in the heart and the mind of the individual. Yeshua is, in fact, teaching something transformative about people. He wasn't just saying, let's just switch political party lines, or let's just change your worldview, but don't change your belief in God or something. Yeshua was actually calling for the type of change that resulted in the birth of a new man. And we, of course, have this agreement in Paul where he talks in the book of Ephesians about the one new man. And so the born-again experience that Yeshua brought in his teachings was not something that was new to the Torah itself,